The meeting of the Board of Trustees, the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District is being held today, Monday, January the 30th, 2017. It is now 5 p.m. We're in the Administration Boardroom, which is 2000 North 23rd Street in McAllen, Texas. At this time, there is discussion and action by the board on items and subjects listed as follows. Items listed on the agenda may be taken in order other than is shown on the agenda. Special attention should be placed at the regular business portion of the meeting of the public, beginning with the agenda item number 3, will begin approximately 6 p.m. So at 5 o'clock we are open. Going to item 2, recess into closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 2A, human resource recommendations for school year 2016-2017. Human resource employee resignations for school year 2016-2017. 2C, pending and or potential litigation, specifically 2C1, Springboards to Education Incorporated versus McAllen Independent School District, et al., cause number 716 CV 00523. And
before coming into the regular
many of our students and our teachers, actually, our staff, they make plans to go to summer school at UTRGV STC to take summer courses, even our dual enrollment courses. And so if we start on the 29th, and there's a possibility that we push our calendar into June, sometimes there's conflict. So we want to avoid that. We want to make sure that our students start on day 1.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? At this time, it's now open for public comment. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. And we have a mic here in the podium, so just please come up if anybody wishes to speak. And again, this is speaking regarding public hearing for the District of Innovation, the presentation that Dr. Ibarra made just a moment ago. Hearing none, then at this point, unless there are any other questions from the Board of Trustees, we are closing the public hearing regarding the District of Innovation at 6:16. We are now recessing the 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6:16. And we're proceeding to open at 6:16 a special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, which holds today, Monday, July the 30th, 2017, beginning at 6:15 at the Administration Building at 2000 North 23rd Street in McAllen, Texas. This meeting is to discuss, to convene for any public comment. Again, a public statement from the Board of Trustees under BED exhibit is the board encourages comments from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that comments pertaining to public education be no longer than 5 minutes. It is our understanding that no one signed up by the due time today, and so we have no one listed at this time to speak under public comment today at 6:15. So at 6:17, we are now closing the public comment portion of the meeting with the Board of Trustees. And at 6:16, we'll reconvene the 5 o'clock meeting of the Board of Trustees agenda, and we'll proceed on to item number 7, which is recognition and proclamations. 7A, recognition of the District Elementary Science Fair winners. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The District Elementary Science Fair was held on December 10th, 2016, and today we recognize the winners in 3rd through 5th grades, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Ibarra so she can tell us who our winners are.
Yes. Thank you. McAllen ISD hosted its 11th annual Elementary District Science Fair at Blanca y Sanchez on December 10th, 2016. Students from pre-kinder to 5th grade created projects for this science fair. At the District Science Fair, there were 148 participants in all, 75 participants from pre-K to 2nd grade in the showcase category, and 59 participants from 3rd through 5th grade in the experimental design category. We also had 14 out of 20 campuses that participated in the 3rd through 5th invention category. At this time, we'd like to recognize our participants in the invention category. Third place, in second place, we have Jordan Gabrielson from Milam Elementary. And in first place, Katia Garcia from Hendricks Elementary. In the experimental design from third grade, in second place, we have Gael Guerra from Sanchez Elementary. And first place, Janely Rocha from Rayburn Elementary. And then in the fifth grade category, we have Andrew Tan, second place from Castañeda Elementary. We would like to recognize the parents and teachers who put many hours of their time in helping and supporting the students in working and putting together a science fair projects for showcase and competition. And we also like to recognize our elementary science coordinator, Ms. Wendy Grolier. Great job.
Y'all get center stage.
One more down, right there.
Andrea's not here today?
You won't get harassed.
Mark's loading up.
That looks good, actually.
And this is a good time to recognize the parents of the children. We probably don't stand, but you will stand. Thank you all very much. We're going to take a photo real quick, and then the parents will be able to come up and take all the photos you like, if you wish. Thank you. This is for the official archive.
I like the unofficial.
No pressure. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, stay right there.
No move, now mom and dad. Here we go.
Dad?
Come on, Dr. G.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Sure, thank you. One more.
Hang on, hold it.
Come on up, it's good, come on up, we're good.
We're waiting. We got all day. Hey,
You didn't charge me, but I don't know.
Better
we're
up
dealing
here,
with it.
Nancy. It's better up here.
Everyone's watching her.
Smile. Very good. Congratulations.
He just got here? Come
All right, come on up, we'll take another,
Bring
come on
him back,
back,
bring him back.
Come on back, we'll do another photo op.
Welcome back it up.
We're going to introduce you, that's what's up.
Okay, Damian actually got first place, and he is from Garza Elementary.
There you go.
To the left.
Okay, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And we recognized the parents earlier, so is the parent. There you go, congratulations. Want to come and take a photo, or did you get it from me?
I got it.
All right, we're good, thank you. Have a good one. Go home and do your homework. All right. Thank you all.
Good job, guys.
It's a proclamation.
You got it.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. In honor of National School Counselors Week, we would like to present a proclamation to recognize our counselors. Dr. Ibarra will now introduce the group, and Trustee Forina will read the proclamation.
That is correct. We have counselor representatives from across the district. We'll begin with our elementary counselors. From Navarro Elementary, Norma Trevino. From Bonham Elementary, Amanda Sada. From Hendricks Elementary, Maria Lopez. From Morris Middle School, Terry Liguez Garza. From Brown Middle School, Angelin Cecine. From Memorial High School, Eduardo Lopez. From Rural High School, Marta Rodriguez. From Lamar Academy, Edna Trevino. From Achieve Early College High School, Cynthia Olivares. And also joining us is our Director of College and Career and Counseling, Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos.
And by the way, the roses that have been, that the counselors have been provided by the counseling department. Can we have y'all step forward?
Yes, we probably need to make 2 rows. 2 rows with the counselors. Okay, can you see right there? Do y'all mind scooping this way? This way, this way. Okay, good. If you could slip this way so we can see her right there. This way a little bit more. Okay. Do you mind stepping this way like that? Do you see?
Oh, Mr. Oils, you can move this way, just, yeah, very good. Yeah, that's good for everyone. Mr. Suarez, can you move this way just a tad? Very good. Okay, everybody smile. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, great.
Don't move, right? We're going to read the proclamation.
All right. The proclamation states, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development, and whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, and whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves, and whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society, and whereas comprehensive development school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, I, Tony Forina, Secretary of the Board of Trustees for McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the week of February 6th through the 10th as National School Counseling Week. Resolved that the American School Counselor Association celebrates and acknowledges the unique contribution of school counselors as they work to remove barriers to learning by addressing students' academic concerns, personal and social skills, and career development so they not only achieve success in school, but are prepared to lead fulfilling lives as responsible members of society. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 30th day of January 2017 and attested to by Sam Saldivar Jr., President of the Board of Trustees for McAllen Independent School District. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you all.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Enjoy your week. Starbucks are good working, right?
Sure. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. you all very much. That concludes the recognition and proclamations, except for one more. While it's not on the agenda, so I'm going to have to do it real quick. We have representatives of Leadership McAllen in the audience, so we're going to recognize Leadership McAllen. Thank you for joining us, and we should be out here by 11 o'clock, so we welcome you on the Thank you.
We're staying until 11.
And with that, we'll go on to item 8, board meetings, board committees and district reports. Item 8A1, instructional service briefing. The chair is Trustee Forina.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. As we discussed 2 weeks ago, today we will be looking at the approval of the appointment of district committee to become a district of innovation, and also the approval of House Bill 1 high school reform goals for 2016-2017. That is my report, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Forina. We'll now go to item 8A2, business operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Vela, Trustee Vela and I, and Mrs. Garcia met on Wednesday. We talked about the strategic procurement plan, the tax collections in December, and the monthly financial report, all of which will be explained thoroughly by Mrs. Garcia during the meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Suarez. We'll now go to item 8A3, district operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, Trustee Ball, myself, and Dr. Barrera talked about our items for district operations. We have 2. One is the facilities maintenance operations review that Dr. Barrera is going to do in a few minutes, and the other one is agenda item requiring approval. We're doing the De Leon roof replacements, and all work done on the roof was completed and on time and on budget. In fact, on time and under budget. So good job on the district, and that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Trustee Alvarado. We'll now go to item 8A4, human resource briefing. The chair is Trustee Vela.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our committee met with Mr. Miller, our Human Resources, Mr. Farina, and myself. We kind of met separate times, but we're bringing forth a couple of items for approval this evening. We're bringing forth the approval of the job description for marketing specialists. We're also bringing forth the approval of recommendations for the school year 2016 information item, which is employee resignations. And we're bringing forth 3 new human resource playbooks, and Mr. Miller will be explaining those. Actually, it's the next item on our agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Trustee Vela. We'll now proceed to item 8B, district reports. 8B1, report regarding 3 human resource playbooks. This is for information only. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources has developed 3 playbooks for applicants, for employees, and for employee benefits, and they're intended to assist and inform applicants and employees with regard to the functions of the district. And Mr. Miller will elaborate on our playbooks.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Sorry. So there's 3 playbooks. One's for applicants, one on the left, the yellow one. And it's really intended to provide information to applicants for the application process and things like that they currently did not have. The second one is the playbook for employees, for information related to common topics of concern to employees. It's not necessarily included in the employee handbook. But my favorite one really is the benefit playbook, because I don't know about y'all, but sometimes employees will go home and give the benefit information to the spouse and mentally wash their hands of it. So this playbook has all the information on benefits from A to Z, costs, and all the benefits. So it's very, very helpful, and I think that's probably the biggest value to the employees. These will be living documents, so we'll be continuing to revise them and update them. And I think one thing we'll be doing on the benefit going forward is some type of retirement, more information on retirement from what you need to do, 403Bs and things like that. So very proud of this project right here.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Miller. Any questions from the board?
A quick question.
Yes, sir.
All of these will be available online, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
If I may.
Yes, sir, Trustee Vela.
Mr. Miller, you've been working on this for some time,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And that's part of what you've brought to this position is the implementation of these, put them together, the board, these playbooks, if you will, right?
Yes, sir.
It's been a lot of work, and I commend you for all the work you've put into this. And I think it'd be a great thing for the employees of our district.
Thank you. We benchmarked it off of Fort Bend ISD, got in touch with them. but finding a lot of good stuff out there, obviously by benchmarking other districts, so.
Yeah, good work.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Alvarado?
It's really good work, and I hate to even ask this because I don't want to put more work on your plate, but some of our employees might have a hard time with this English part. Are we going to have it in Spanish?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yep.
Great job.
First step was getting it done.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I think Trustee Vela clearly stated it, but it has to be stated from the, as well from the board that this is a great body of work. This is great information and readily available to our employees, and more importantly to our prospective employees, so we become an employer of choice. So thank you for the hard work and the dedication to bring this to fruition.
Thank you. It's a team effort on the HR department.
Yes, sir. Any other comments from the board? Hearing none?
We'd give you a round of applause, but you got a paycheck, so we'll work with that.
Well, let's do that anyway. Thank you. Good suggestions from all. 8B2, report regarding facility maintenance and operations projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This is a monthly report from the Facilities Maintenance and Operation Department. Dr. Barrera will be walking us through this month's projects. So, Dr. Barrera, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Dr. Gonzalez and Board of Trustees. This evening, I bring this monthly report of the Facilities Maintenance and Operations. Mr. Trevino's couldn't be with us today, but he sends his regards. Go ahead and start us out with our first one here is our completed projects, but beginning with the tree trimming, the palm trees. Just to let you know, we concluded that project. We hired an outside firm to help us with the real tall trees. There are about 260 of them that have been trimmed up, and that's just the really tall ones. The rest of them, our staff was able to handle, as well as the trimming of the oak trees and other trees that we have on hand. Next, we have the carpet removal and tile installation. This is a completed project that we're proud to bring out. All of the floors that have been requested to have the carpet removed have been completed. This was a project that we were able to leverage dollars by buying the VTC tile, or the tile that you see there, by the trailer truckload, and then contracting the work out. So we were able to save a bundle of money right there. And this is a picture taken from the library at Memorial High School. Next, we have the Human Resource Office here. We've had modifications to a storage room, which was actually a file room, has now been converted into a really nice conference room for our staff there. The door opening there was in the frame was added, and some paint and a little bit of furniture. Next, we have the power washing projects, and this is, as you see here, the top row of pictures are the before, and the below are the after. It's amazing what a little bit of power washing can do, the cleaning of the walls. This is Mac High. The next project will be over at Brown, and then we'll go over to Memorial and then Lamar, and then kind of finish up over at Rowe once the roofing project is complete. Next, we have Milam Elementary. This is a room division with the wall that was put into place there. The work is completed there. If you look real close, you can see Ms. McGurk walking in, checking out what's being done there. This is a real exciting project over at Rowe High School. This is the cafeteria upgrade. All of the color you see there is all new. All of the spirit is well alive there. There's lots of new furniture there. Project is about 95% complete. With a little bit of painting it remains to get that done over spring break. This is the new pavilion over at Milam. The old one had rusted out legs, so we tore it completely down, and then we tore out the base that it had. It had an asphalt base, and then we built it back up with concrete, and we're paying attention to how the water flows there so that it doesn't flood or anything else and carries water away from there. This project is not completely done yet. It still lacks the sidewalks that join to it. There's got to be some basketball goals and some striping that goes along with that. This is a 60 by 100 structure, and it's coming right along.
Trustee Suarez.
Yes, sir.
If I may, I know a while back we had met with the PTO president, and they have a project that they'll be doing that's extending the the pavilion out with pavers and benches. And I just want to make sure that they take into account when they work with you that because that's a lot higher now, the way the water is going to flow on those pavers, we need to make sure and let them know how much higher that is than the asphalt, because if not, it's going to create some problems.
I know that we've been working with the PTO president
Okay.
as soon as we started the project to let them know that this was coming up so we could kind of coordinate efforts, and we'll keep them in the loop as when
Because
the
I
time comes
walked
for
it,
those.
and there's a big difference of, it's a lot higher now. I mean, and with good reason, because before the asphalt would get flooded every time it would rain. So that's definitely going to avoid it, but that water has to go somewhere. And if they put those pavers next to them, they're going to be floating pavers pretty soon.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Dr. Bell. Thank you.
This next project here is portables. Here we have a couple of them that have been moved over to Mac High. I believe one came from Garza and one from Special Ed, and they've moved them over to Mac High and in behind in the area where the mariachis are. And they've been reworking them. You see this picture here, they're working on the roof, and they'll be kind of tying it all in and bringing it together. This next one, all important, asphalt pothole repair. This is phase number 2. We started in with the first one and been working, got a lot done. This is saw cut and mill 4,000 square feet, and these are the campuses listed that will be working. This will be a second batch of asphalt repair.
Is that parking lots, or is that streets, or what is that?
It's all encompassing. Wherever the bigger problems are is what we're hitting, and then they'll saw cut that out and replace it. So it's on streets, and we do have a paving project scheduled here that we'll get to in just a bit.
Okay.
Doc, before you go any further, the
Yes, sir.
paving project, does that include Morris? Because going on Morris, I'm afraid to go on anything less than my Jeep. It's like riding on the surface of the moon there. Getting ready to ask Heriberto Reynosa to see if we can borrow one of the Mission to Mars vehicles to get into there.
This picture is not taken from there, but I do know that Morris and Mac High and one other campus that we'll get to in just a minute, I believe it's Milam, is scheduled for repaving this summer.
And when was the last time those were paved? Do you know offhand?
I know it's been quite a
Never
long
been
time.
repaved.
Never
Only
been
paved.
repaved. They've only been
paved.
There was a portion of mine that was paved.
Yeah.
There was a portion of Milan that was
A
paved.
very small portion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of it is, what you see is what was done when the original
Wow.
install.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, on Mac High, does that include Bulldog Drive?
Bulldog, that's part of the paving project.
All right.
repaving
Is
this
that
summer.
taken into account that there's some drainage issues there and ongoing, that it's going to be addressed and resolved?
We, for a long time, have been struggling with that flooding that goes on right across between the Korean Tech and the main building there. And that will be repaved and also revisited to see how we can route that water out the way it should go.
Because here, once again, if we're just simply repaving and that flooding is going to continue, we're not helping the students make it across there when it does, and we're just eroding and putting money into something that there really needs to be attention, Dr. Gonzalez, to deal with the grading there and the drainage.
And also take into consideration the handicap ramps that are there leading to Bulldog Drive.
Exactly. So, if that hasn't been taken into account, it would be a suggestion for administration to rethink that, to take all those issues into consideration.
Very well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments on this regard? All right, go on. If you would, Dr. Pereira.
Okay, very good. This next one, De Leon Middle School and James Nicky Rowe High School. This is the roof replacement. This picture here shows, this is Rowe High School. It's about 65% complete. It's a huge project, as you can tell there. Real happy to announce that De Leon roof project is now complete, and we're bringing that up for approval this evening. But this project has been ongoing for some time and is well on its way. The next one is Gonzales Elementary School roof and the Garza Elementary School roof. These are the kind of pictures that you see of the tops of them. These two roof projects are in the design stage right now and will soon be bid. We're anticipating starting date of getting starting of the work to be done in around June and July.
Is it total roof replacement on those two campuses?
Yes, they are. This next one, this is some of the work orders that we have completed for the month of December. We had 811 out, completed 739. The pictures that you see here is a couple of on the right-hand side is a portable building where they pulled up the carpet and replacing it with tile. This rooftop unit here that you see is over at Gonzales Elementary and has just been replaced. This was above the cafeteria area. And the cafeteria area got new HVAC units. Also, I can also add that we've got several other HVAC units that are in line to be replaced.
Yeah, I had inquired about this earlier. If you look at that unit, that's hail damage. And so what I inquired, was this replaced? And you just said it was.
Yes,
and
sir.
was this part from the hail settlement?
Yes,
the
sir.
payment to
Yeah.
replace this unit? Okay. Thank you.
And as we move to upcoming projects, we've got our district-wide portables exterior paints. That's whenever we move them or reposition them, we'll go ahead and paint them up again. We have the paving projects over at Milam, Bulldog Drive, and over at Morris Middle School. And those will be we'll take into account, and we'll look into your question here about the drainage and make sure we address that. These rooftop RTUs are rooftop units, and those are the replacements over at Gonzales Elementary. Garza Elementary in Houston. And then we have our district-wide asphalt repair. That's that phase number 2. And then we're working on the HVAC system replacement system over for the gym at Mac High. And then rounding it out with baseball season coming very soon, the softball fields and baseball fields are all getting maintenance upgrades. That's power washing, paint, repair of fences. And then if you've drove around the high schools, you'll see the fences are going up, the security fences that we approved some time back. The work is being done. There's a good long fence line alongside Row, and we're moving right along with that project. So that pretty much concludes our report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Bada. Any questions, Dr.
Yes, sir. Just on the Mackay power washing, is that a one-time, or are we on cycles, or do we have a cycle now for all the schools?
We have established a cycle.
Awesome.
So I mentioned the first 4 there. They're not really the first 4, but that's the 4 that we're working on, and there'll be another group, and it's a continual job.
Great.
And we go some of them need it a little more than others.
Is it once every 2 years we're touching a school, or is it?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure how often they hit those, but I know that we've set up a schedule and we're moving them right through.
Okay, and my next question is, we didn't touch about it, but we discussed it in our committee a while back when we put the security doors into the elementary schools. I know it's a project we did a while back. I thought we at some schools they have the buzzer, some schools do not. And I thought we had authorized for all the schools to have a buzzer, because what happens sometimes is schools that don't, someone has to sit there and she can't get up because she has to watch the door. You have to actually physically knock in case there's no one watching. So I was going to ask if for our next report, if you can ask Mr. Trevino to get a list of all the schools that don't have a buzzer. And then I'd like to put on the agenda, if I can, Mr. President, see what that cost would be, because I thought we had approved that, and if not, do we have the funds to do that? Because I think it is important to have that buzzers to communicate back and forth.
You bet. I will follow up and see which ones are.
Thank you, sir.
And then we'll come back to you next time.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
I have a
Trustee
comment.
Esparza.
Dr. Barrera, thank you for the report. I know this has come up in the past regarding the ag farm, and I know Ruben had mentioned they're doing some studies, talking to the engineers. Can you maybe add that to the list so that it doesn't fall off and we can get some reports as to where we're at? And I've got a call from the parent today, and so I checked with Ruben. He said, no, this is what we're doing. So just so we can kind of get a report to the board where we're at on that project.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea, because that we know I think that needs to be incorporated as to where we are.
Okay.
If we want.
Sure will.
Good point. Any other comments or questions from the board? Thank you again. We'll now proceed to item 8, B3, report regarding tax collected for December 2016. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will now be discussing the report regarding the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for December 2016, and this is for information only. Ms. Garcia.
Good evening. The amount collected for December was $25.5 million, and $12,000 of that went towards the debt collection. Attached is your report comparing the current tax roll as well as the delinquent taxes. Collections to date is $32.2 million in current taxes and $1.35 million in delinquent tax collections. Of that, the percent comparisons for the 2 years, the current year and previous year, we have 40.97% for 16-17 in current collections in comparison to 43.10 in previous years. And in regards to delinquent collections, it's 21.25 versus 24.37. We do realize that as far as the current collections, there are 3%, almost 3% less than the prior year. However, we feel that next month that number should catch up. We'll continue to monitor that. In terms of the 5-year average, it's in line with that. Our tax roll this year is a lot higher than it was last year. So there's a lot more money to collect out there.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you again. We'll now proceed to item 8B4, report regarding the monthly financial and investment report for December 2016. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Another report from Mrs. Garcia. She'll be presenting the monthly financials for December 2016. And again, this is for information only. Ms. Garcia.
In our monthly financial report, we report this on a regular basis. It's also posted on our website after the board meeting. We do show a comparison of the budget that was approved in comparison to actual expenditures. In terms of revenues, year-to-date actuals through December 31st were $111.7 million, and expenditures were $110.1, which means that revenues for December were $1.6 million over the expenditures. In terms of the financial and investment reports, we are reporting that interest rates have of course risen as a result of the Fed's increasing the rate and the new administration coming in and the stock market experiencing record highs in the month of December. So interest rates are ranging from the 0.5% on the Fed rate to 3% on the 3-year, as illustrated in the graph in the report. In regards to our portfolio management report, you'll note that our beginning book value was $109.6 million, and ending is $118 million. We utilized the 180-day Treasury bill as a benchmark to measure our risk and our interest earnings in the portfolio, and we are doing a lot better than that at 0.749%. Which is great. Our investments are well diversified. This month you do see a little bit more invested in Lone Star. What we have started doing is we did move some cash balances from Frost because they've been paying 1 basis points versus 77 basis points in Lone Star. The pools, they offer daily liquidity, and it's not costing us an additional money in terms of transactions, and we're able to generate a higher yield. So, depending on the market conditions, we'll continue that strategy until, interest rates change. Interest earnings for the period were $66,380.04. And for the fiscal year to date, we're at $272,248.12, which is pretty phenomenal considering last year, with the whole year, we were like at $52,000. For the year, so it's been a great year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Any questions from the board?
You have a quick question?
Yes, sir, Trustee
So
Esparza.
that's good, the 272,000. But you mentioned over here that our book value was 109, and then it ended at 118 million. That's $9 million, but that's, I mean, we didn't earn $9 million. We made.
No, sir.
Explain
What that also measures cash inflows and outflows as
Okay.
we're receiving revenues. It's being
Okay.
deposited into these accounts, and as things are being paid out, it's being reduced.
So the net gain was $272,000 for the whole
For
2016 year?
the year-to-date.
Yes,
Year-to-date.
So 6 months out of the,
Yes, sir. 6 months.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Again, our fiscal year starts July 1st, so that's what you're making reference to about the 6
Yes,
months. It's not
absolutely.
calendar year.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Thank you for your report. We now proceed to 8B5, report regarding the strategic procurement plan. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. To aid the district in achieving the most effective and efficient use of taxpayer dollars, Purchasing Services has developed a strategic procurement plan. Ms. Garcia and Ms. Gonzalez will outline the plan, and this item is for information only.
Goal 4 and Strategy 7 from our strategic procurement plan involves financial priorities, and as a best practice in the field of procurement, Ms. Alejandra Gonzalez, our purchasing director, as well as her team, has sat down with district directors and executive leadership team and have developed this strategic procurement plan. This system will ensure a system that will allow us to basically use it as a tool as we begin our budget planning process, and it also provides for some long-term financial planning as well. And with that, I'll introduce Ms. Gonzalez so that she can explain the strategic procurement plan.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Mr. President and Dr. Gonzalez. I'll begin the presentation. The strategic procurement plan provides a vision for the district's procurement activities that's going to affect approximately 3,300 staff members, 23,826 students, and approximately $55 million in goods and services annual spend. The vision is to provide a streamlined procurement service aligned with the focus on financial priorities that reflect sound business and fiscal practices while supporting district goals. We will maximize our resources to facilitate the acquisition of goods and services to fulfill district needs through efficient and timely procurement practices within ethical standards, and provide vendors with a fair, concise, and equal consideration in accordance with local policies, state statutes, and federal guidelines. There are 4 goals within the strategic procurement plan. The first one is the customer-centered procurement support. Second one is value, innovation, and responsibility to our stakeholders and contracts. The third one is strong and transparent framework. And the fourth one is effective hiring and retaining of procurement staff. And the first goal, basically, it's to provide a customer-centered focus, adapting to the district's needs while maintaining policy compliance. We plan on involving departments in the planning, development, the delivery of goods and services to make sure that we're meeting their needs, delivering the products and services that are fit for purpose, they're safe for classroom use, and they're in compliance with local policy, state statutes, and federal guidelines, and provide timely information about new contracts, products, processes, and policies, provide training to internal, meaning district employees, and external, which would be our vendors, on an annual or an as-needed basis. We had like an annual training in the beginning of the school year for all clerks that would deal with procurement, and then we also provided as needed when staff, campuses called us, we'd go present to them individually, like on a campus level. The successes will be measured by evaluating the performance measures to continuously improve procurement services, regular proactive department engagement. We're constantly in communication with all directors, and then processes that ensure sound specification development. So we want our specs to match what they actually need. The second goal is value, innovation, and responsibility to our stakeholders and contracts. And we're trying to deliver savings that bring innovation to the district and support our stakeholders. We will identify savings opportunities through category analysis. So if we know we're spending a certain amount of money, we start evaluating whether we need to procure it. By applying strategic procurement principles, capture and manage savings through sound contract and vendor management, engage with customers, vendors, and other procurers to facilitate innovation and flexibility. So always involving the departments, the vendors, involving everybody at stake so that everybody can have ownership in it. Successes will be measured by established category analyses that are grounded on internal and external factors, systems and processes for developing contracts. For instance, I've already had Mr. Crane come out and train all the buyers on contract requirements. So we've developed a template. It's made it more streamlined to be able to process them quicker. And then savings achieved and reported. The third goal is strong and transparent framework. So to provide a clear framework while providing direction and oversight to the department's procurement activities and performance, we will establish, review, and monitor report performance against the district goals and strategic plan, and it ties in with Goal 4. Maintain procurement policies, manuals, and educate campus departments in their use. So constantly tweak it and make sure that we educate everybody in the district about it. Continue transparency on procurement processes, and then maintain a replacement schedule for large purchases. And there's going to be a sample coming up about the replacement schedule. The successes will be measured by maintaining a high awareness of procurement obligations across the departments, maintaining a continuous improvement program by conducting customer service surveys to find out where it is that we're weak and strong, and then work from there. And this would be internally and externally. Maintain a replacement schedule on large items for each department. And then one of my goals is to earn the annual contracts and procurement transparency star through the Texas Comptroller within maybe the next 3 years. And then the last goal is effective hiring and retaining of procurement staff. We want to make sure that we support them and have professional development available to them to have top-notch employees, refine their job descriptions, make sure that the capacity, skill, and alignment and values are taken into account, develop performance plans for every procurement staff member to maintain and enhance procurement skill base, provide incentives to attract and retain staff that would tie into strategy to attract and retain high-quality staff, and then recognize and support and encourage our staff to consistently increase morale. I have weekly meetings. Pretty much when I started, I started doing weekly meetings with my professional staff. Then I added the clerks. I have weekly meetings with them. Now I have weekly meetings with the coordinators. So we're doing book studies and things of that sort to help them feel, to raise the morale and make sure that everybody's happy. The successes will be measured by obtaining certifications for procurement staff. Ideally, we can get people certified. Having a professional staff member with a leadership position in a professional procurement association. Having professional staff members present at the national or state level on procurement practices. And prioritize training and development programs. It ties in with the district's leadership model, the business perspective, the psychosocial perspective, the sense of belonging perspective, and instructional core. All of my staff have been trained in emotional intelligence, and I know that's we're using it on a weekly basis, and everybody's taken into it. So that's been very successful. I broke out the spending by department for the last 5 years, and as you can see, FMO obviously has the largest, but it gives you the spending in millions of dollars by department. The next slide are our top 20 vendors that do business with us. This is a sample of our bid calendar. Our bid calendar, it's updated constantly when new bids come in, and so it tells us what's coming up to be expired. We work on 90 days in advance so that things don't lapse and we don't miss out on certain bids that are needing to be renewed. So that's just a sample of the upcoming ones. The next slide is the one-time projects that are going on by departments right now. Some of them have been already awarded. A lot of them were in-house projects in the FMO, and that covers the next few slides. The first one is FMO. The next one's Department of Technology. Department of Transportation as follows, and Media Services, Community Info, the Warehouse, Department of Food Services, and then Department of Athletics. From the replacement schedule, which, like I said, it was new, these are the departments that I requested a replacement schedule so that we could keep track from a budget perspective about what's needing to be, where the budget needs to be allocated, and look at the district as a whole, not separately. So these were the responses. I included a sample from athletics, and this is a preliminary. There's been an updated since then to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. And I plan on that. My next project will be to create a book with everybody's replacement schedules by department so that it's accessible to anyone. So this is what the athletics looks like. So it tells you when things need to be replaced and approximately how much money it is, more or less. So that way, if we look at it from a I get bird's eye view, you can see the whole district where money needs to be per year, not just by department, and we're able to allocate funds more cautiously. So that's a long one because it's athletics, and like I said, it's preliminary, and that's pretty much it. Are there any questions?
Wow. I mean, this is impressive. This is how you run a business. This is how you know where you are, where you need to be, where your resources are, people development. It's all the four goals. Student focus, obviously. Normally I wait for the board, and I should, and I apologize, but this is impressive. But what say the board? Any questions, comments? Trustee Forty?
I do have a question, Ms. Gonzalez. In Goal 1, you mentioned helping the 3,300 staff and the 23,000 plus students. Is there a way that when you incorporate your classes, we can bring in the many different booster clubs that we have throughout the district, that we can encourage them to also be a part of the classes so that when they're going through their procurement of, booster fan club t-shirts or different projects that they're using to raise funds, you can help them out so that we can purchase in bulk and get a better rate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Esparza.
A couple of questions, comments. On your goal number 3, you had maintain a replacement schedule for large purchases, which is good, and then you also had, I guess, under the bid calendar, so that kind of goes hand in hand, right? And I know Ruben over the maintenance department had been talking about stuff like with the chillers and putting all the equipment on that. So you work with him?
Definitely.
to make
We're
sure
in constant communication.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Also, looking at the top, I just had a quick question on the top 20 vendors page. There's one that says there towards the bottom, the appraisal district. What do we pay them for? Is it for like a lease or something that we're paying? They pay, or is that?
That's our district property taxes.
Oh,
The taxes
we pay
that we pay.
taxes too?
Yes, we do.
So that's what it is?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right. Any other questions from the board? Again, this is impressive. This is going to be on our website, I gather, so it's transparent, so
Yes,
the
sir.
public can see it.
Yes, sir.
We can all see and access it. The beauty about this is, we're biennial budget because the legislature is budgeting for 2 years. We're going to be able to possibly even go into 2 budget cycles, so 4 years of projecting out based on what you're developing here. Is that correct? Am I reading this correctly?
Correct.
Whoa. Wow. Wow. But getting to, I noticed that on the bid calendar, you had board date. I guess that's when the Board of Trustees is going to schedule a meeting. And then you had term date. I guess that's the term of when the contract's up?
Correct. So that was the day, the board day was the day it was awarded by the board. And the contract term, the term 2 is when the contract ends.
Gotcha.
So like I said, we have a report that prints out for the 90 days in advance, so we know what's coming up 90 days ahead of time, and we start working on it ahead of time.
Are you going to be taking track of warranties, or is that the director of FMNO is keeping track under warranties? Because in the past, we've missed opportunities. We had things that might have been warrantied and nobody kept track or checked, and then we paid for something that could have been taken care of under a warranty.
Sure. That would be the facilities department or the department that is requesting the equipment. And as you can see with this, the replacement schedule and the plan itself, it looks at district-wide, not just facilities, but even technology, furniture, surveillance systems, intercom systems, all of that under one umbrella. So it allows us to take a step back. But and as Ms. Richards is working in side by side with Alejandra, they're looking towards that multi-year planning, using
Excellent.
this as a tool for that.
So you literally have taken those 4 goals and line them up with the respective department that is in charge of each one of those, and you're all talking and interacting and making decisions together.
On a weekly basis. On a weekly
I
basis.
commend you
yes,
all.
sir.
That is, and I notice you're going to be looking at and it's lofty, and we hope you get there with the comptroller. I saw that. That's one of your goals, to get
That
you
is one of
there,
my goals.
to be recognized for this.
Sir.
And then the other, I saw that you're going to continue to develop your personnel to make sure they get all the certifications and continuing improvement.
Correct, correct.
Wow.
But I know you got that award, didn't you?
I'm sorry?
You had that award, didn't you, when you were?
Not the comptroller one, that's a
Oh.
new one, but
Okay.
but we're definitely.
would've got
Actually, that award, Business Office has won 2 transparencies award, one for traditional finances and one for debt services, or debt management, and there is one for procurement. So Ms. Gonzalez is shooting for that one, and we know that her and her team will definitely achieve it.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from the board? I like that emotional intelligence component being brought into the equation. That is,
Absolutely.
again, another something that I really commend you on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well.
Thank
Good
you.
done.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. 9A. Action items that were in closed session now are coming out for consideration by the board in action. 9A, approval of human resource recommendations for school year 2016-2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by trustee Esparza, seconded by trustee Suarez. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 5-0. We'll now proceed to item 9B, human resource employee resignations for school year 2016-2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2016-2017 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information only.
Thank you. The next item, proceed as directed, Mr. Craig.
Correct.
And that proceeding and directed is regarding school board, Springboard to Education Incorporated versus McAllen Independent School District et al., cause number 716CV00523. Thank you. We'll now proceed to item D, possible real estate acquisition. Mr. Craig.
No report.
Thank you, sir. We'll now proceed to item 10A, instructional service items, approval of appointment of district committee to become a district of innovation. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. As part of the District of Innovation guidelines, the board shall appoint a committee to develop a District of Innovation plan, and we are requesting action on this item, and Dr. Ibarra will answer any questions that you may have. I know we talked about it earlier, but if there's any further questions you have with regard to the District of Innovation plan.
Any questions for the board? Dr. Ibarra, do you want to add anything at this point on this item?
At this time, I'd just like to hear your recommendations, if you want to proceed with the appointment of 2 individuals per board member, or if you'd like to charge me with that responsibility, whatever direction you'd like me to take, I will proceed.
Now, does the board at this time have to take action that we do want, first have to vote that we want to establish a committee, if that's what the board does want to do? Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right, so for right now, we're now having discussion about whether we should appoint a committee, and then in part of that discussion is what that committee structure might look like. So any comments? Trustee Forina.
Well, I move to approve the appointment of the district committee to become a district of innovation.
All right, we have a motion by trustee Forina. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Suarez. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Just have a couple of questions. I guess what the committee structure is going to be, what kind of timeline, or not timeline, but what amount of work is going to be required? Because I want to make a recommendation. I want to make sure I recommend somebody that has the times, but you don't have any idea how often y'all are going to be meeting, or how long it's going to be, do you, at this point?
We believe, or I believe, that it's going to take about a half a morning, maybe a half day, to sit down and review the different options that we have, and at that time, divide into smaller committees, depending on the exemptions that we're seeking. So for instance, a subcommittee might review and further research possibly the class ratio. Another one may do the CT certification and so forth. So we can look at all the available exceptions, and then at that point decide which ones we would like to pursue. So again, there's going to be a lot of discussion.
But you're talking about a couple of meetings?
Possibly a couple of meetings, but it's very clear cut. If we follow the guidelines, if we follow the Texas Education Code, it's very clear cut and very easily delineated. So all we have to do is decide which ones and put it included in the plan that we're going to present to the board and to the district advisory committee for approval.
What kind of timeline are we looking at here? That a decision has to be made so the plan can be submitted to us and then in turn
Right.
return
Well,
to the state?
the reason the time is of the essence is because we would like to know, especially for the calendar, so that we can plan the calendar for the upcoming year. And usually we're doing that around March because we do need to send it back to the campuses, and then the campuses, everyone at the campus level, district level has a vote. So
And that's done in March?
usually
done
we're
prior?
working on the calendar around March, and then it goes to the campuses around April. And so before we leave before we wait for the summer break, obviously we have to have a vote. So
So you're looking at the committee working through February? and into
February,
March,
yes,
maybe?
yes.
Okay.
And then, of course, taking into account that the plan has to be posted on the website for 30 days before we even take any action by the board. So yes, we're looking about from this point, possibly a month and a half to 2 months for the entire process to take its course. And hopefully by the time that we have approval, if you all decide to give us the approval, it will be around middle of March. And then at that point, we can go ahead and draft the calendar, finalize the calendar, and send it out to the campuses. That's where, again, where timing is important. With the others, we have more time, more flexibility, but the calendar is crucial.
With that being said, based on that information, I don't have a problem with appointing people. I'd like an opportunity to explain to the people that, instead of having to name people now or individuals tonight, speak to them and see who's willing to give that commitment to the district. And you're not talking about employees, you're talking about maybe parents or
It could be parents, it could be community members, it could be you all could be also part of the committee.
Okay. Okay.
Again, there really are no guidelines. All they do is give us recommendations, and we do want community stakeholders, basically.
If I could clear up a couple of points, and Trustee Esparza brings up a lot of good points here.
Yes.
There's several steps here, and the first step is we got to decide if we're going to establish a committee. So
That's correct.
That's one, which means begins the process. If we don't want to establish a committee, it dies. That means we're not moving forward with the District of Innovation.
That's correct.
The second point is we have to then discuss the membership, how many individuals will be on the committee and who will select them. Again, the board will have to decide if it's going to be that we decide, and I think earlier you mentioned possibly 2 names. And if those 2 motions happen tonight, then I would agree with Trustee Esparza that we then can put it on the agenda for the next board meeting, and then be prepared at that time to come in with the recommendations, if it's a board action recommendation, because the board could also, as you know, give it to you or the administration to make that selection. So we haven't gotten to that step, but for clarity, as I read the document, correct me if I'm wrong, those are the steps we're at right now.
Yes, that's
Step
correct.
1 is setting up the committee, and if we don't vote in favor of that, then the issue dies.
Correct.
If we vote in favor, then we go on to steps,
Yes.
continue on. Is
That's
that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Hopefully that helped. Trustee Esparza. Trustee Vela.
Thank you. Dr. Ibarra, setting up the committee would have 2 charges. The first charge would be to research and recommend whether or not to proceed with the District of Innovation. And then the second charge would be to proceed, obviously, if you get to the second charge, to proceed and under what guidelines or what recommendations to go forward with. Is that correct?
No, actually, once the board appoints the committee, the committee develops the plan. The board appoints a committee to develop the plan. Then the committee is going to develop the plan, at that time, consider which exemptions we would like to pursue, and actually write the plan for the public and to submit to the Commissioner of Education and for you, the board, to approve.
Wouldn't the committee have to do research first on whether or not to proceed with District of Innovation or not? What if they
No.
find in the research that there isn't sufficient advantage to go forward with the District of Innovation? And they could say, after following research, we decided not to go forward with it. I mean,
Right. Well, there's 2, actually, that responsibility falls on the board and on the District Advisory Committee. So the District of Innovation Committee develops the plan. However, it is the District Advisory Committee that will approve the plan. That would be one of 2 steps. Then if the District Advisory Committee approves the plan, then it proceeds it comes back to the board.
And at our level, it has to be by 2/3 vote.
Right, as well as at the District Advisory Committee. So the District of Innovation Committee develops a plan, but they don't make the decision whether we're going to approve it or not approve it. That really responsibility doesn't fall on them, on that committee.
I would presume that you are going to provide the committee, with whatever the makeup may be, with some research information.
Right.
Is there any way that the board could be provided that research information? Say some of the board members aren't on that committee, so that we can, first, we haven't seen any research on it one way or the other. We don't know the pros and cons. We don't know the steps. We don't know the who, the why,
Right.
and the how it got to this point, even at the legislature or at TEA.
Right.
What's the underlying theme that offers a school district the opportunity to become a district of innovation? And you have to look at that. And I think it would be important for us to do the research on it and have it available for us as soon as possible.
Yes, I did include in SharePoint a document from TASB, and it's basically a question-answer document. It does answer a lot of your questions.
Okay.
As far as the research and the benefits, basically. And again, most charter schools, or all charter schools, have these flexibilities, and so they have an advantage, in my opinion, because again, they have relaxed certification requirements, the start date, so they do have those advantages, and all that the state is trying to do is to give us the same leverage, basically, those advantages, so that all districts take advantage of those flexibilities. Again, it doesn't impact funding, it doesn't hinder us in any way, in my opinion, based on what I read. But definitely, when if you all appoint a committee, that's the first step. We're going to just look at the research. We're going to explore it further, look at other districts, how they're using it. Here locally, we have 3 districts in the Rio Grande Valley that are already districts of innovation, and that is Harlingen, Los Fresnos, and Valley View. I believe they became districts of innovation last year. And I think really more than anything, what's driving this decision is the calendar. So again, the committee will decide if they want to implement one exemption or all of them. It doesn't mean that we're going to even consider all of them. So again, it just depends on what the committee decides.
And what I was getting at is, what's the motivation that it's being offered to school districts? If you really dig deep, is it an attempt by someone, TEA or the legislature, to make all school districts charter schools? And if that happens, then we may be slamming the door in our faces also by eliminating all the things that we do as a comprehensive school district as opposed to a charter school district. And that's the kind of research that we need to find out about, to be sure that we aren't backed up or painted into a corner, if you will. Once you get to this point, well, now you've become a charter school and you can't do all the things you were doing before. I just want to be sure that we are very careful when we proceed going in that direction, because you are painting yourself as a charter school.
Right.
We've got to be careful when we do that.
No, absolutely. And again, at any point in time, if the board deems that it's not meeting our needs, we're going off in a different direction, you may decide that we no longer will continue the plan and we cease the District of Innovation plan.
But if the legislature sees that all 1,000+ school districts in the state of Texas have become districts of innovation, they're going to say, see, they wanted to become charter schools anyway. My point. And I'm not
I
saying that
understand
that's
your
what's
point,
happening,
yes.
but I want to say that we want to be sure that we at least explore the possibilities that may be what's happening to us.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So as soon as you can get us some information, research on that, maybe where the conversation started and when and all of
Okay.
that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ibarra. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Trustee Suarez. Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Ibarra, this is kind of piggybacking what Trustee Vela was talking about, but as was explained to us in the public comment, we're not trying to do all of the components. It's just what I recall was the class size, the certification, the calendar.
That's correct.
So let's assume hypothetically that we get a committee together, and of course, your recommendation to the committee is these 3 areas that we want to adopt, and only these 3 areas.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, they're going to evaluate all of them.
Right.
In speaking to the directors, HR department, Ms. Sonia Mata, who's in charge of working very closely with professional development, the calendar, and speaking to all those individuals, those are the areas of concern.
Right, but which is my point. So the areas in which you're going to explain to them that you would like to adopt, That's areas that you've already done research on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have been, again, studying the document, looking at the law, reviewing the other plans and how they write their policy and so forth. And like I said, it's very clear cut. Most districts are actually following a template per se. So it's all written out, it's well delineated.
Any idea, like Harlingen and Valley View and
Los
Los
Fresnos.
Fresnos, what components they've adopted?
The same ones that I just discussed. Actually, Harlingen, those three exact same exemptions. And Los Fresnos, I would need to check on Los Fresnos. I did glance at it, but I don't recall.
Off the top of your head, do you know how many components are part of this?
There's
plan?
about 8 or 9.
Right.
Most of them, all the ones that are listed, there is another one that I didn't list. It has to do with funding. I didn't research it further. I was going to ask Ms. Garcia to research that component.
Okay. So as of now, there's 3 that you've researched. They're pretty consistent with other districts. And we would be 5 away from adopting the program as a whole.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other comments from the board?
Just an ask, if I may, that if we do approve the committee this evening, that, I know we've talked about leaving it up to administration to come forth with a recommendation on the committee. If we could be kept abreast of this as much as possible, instead of having it brought to the meeting next week for us to look at the last minute, I'd really like to
Yes, sir.
follow these steps as they go through.
Okay.
Yeah, to bring clarity, right now we're just agreeing, or we're going to, the motion is to establish the committee. If we vote that down, it's done.
It's done, yes. That's
There's no
correct.
need to appoint. The next motion for the board here is, do we want to establish a committee at the board level where the board would recommend, and if so, how many? Or do we leave it with administration? Those are our options. So we haven't made that decision yet. So to bring clarity, again, this is a 2-part motion at this point.
Yes, sir.
First is the next step, and there's several steps to come,
Yes,
including the board action when it comes back to us sometime in March or April, whenever the recommendation is ready.
Yes, sir.
To then take action by 2/3 vote of the board, whether we proceed or not. Any other questions? I hope that clarified it. There's, again, 2 motions. Right now, we only have 1. I have a couple of questions or thoughts.
Yes, sir.
I'm very interested in the calendar, because if we're not, the way I understand the calendar for next year, we're going to be starting a week later than we did this year.
That is
And
correct.
earlier in their presentation, Trustee Esparza asked some really good questions in a series there that then puts our end of semester possibly after the Christmas holidays, which could
That
be
is correct.
problematic. And this year,
Yes.
we were able to address it because we started earlier.
Yes.
So that's one component we could decide on if we were to go with the innovative school. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, that is
Okay.
correct.
The other one is the CTE. This district is a district of choice, and we've been very purposeful of wanting our children, our students, to graduate with not only high school diploma, but IB, dual enrollment, et cetera, but possibly even a certification.
That is
It's my
correct.
understanding that
Yes,
that's
sir.
what your effort has been as an Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Services.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Dr. Rana?
Yes, what we would like to do, as you know, we encourage all our students to take as many dual enrollment courses as possible, saving the families money, obviously giving them that head start to a degree. But however, we must ensure that we have certified teachers in each classroom, and it's been, it's working well with the exception of CTE. In speaking to our HR director and also to our CTE director, it's difficult to find teachers that are certified in their respective areas, so many times it may impact the classes that we offer, and so that limits the options that we're providing our students. And again, we as a district, we would set that criteria. The state allows us, gives us that flexibility. So for instance, if they have work experience, such in welding, then you could substitute that for a certification. That's an example. So work-related experience or other similar degrees, then the committee would say this suffices, this meets the requirement, and so therefore that individual would be offered a position based on that criteria. So we would not have to meet the certification criteria. And we're hoping to, of course, have a bigger pool of applicants so that we are able to meet the needs of our students and be able to provide more certifications and more licenses.
What you're referencing here, and just to make it clear, they may be certified as a welder, and they know how to do welding, but they may not have the teaching certification, and that's where
That's
it's
correct.
problematic.
That's correct.
And so if we were to approve this District of Innovation, the district would be allowed to bring in a certified individual in their discipline, if they're a
Exactly.
hairdresser or et cetera, because they're licensed in that.
Exactly.
But they don't necessarily now have to have or go into alternative certification for a teaching certificate.
That's correct. Exactly.
So they're still going to get a quality instructor, they're not required as a school district to do that two-step piece.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And that's, but I understand the administration has been willing, not just this one, but the previous one, is we wanting to see students that have a CTE certification, as well as a high school diploma, and as well as any other college credit,
Right.
because they may afford them the opportunity to continue working while they're going to school to provide for their families and provide for tuition money.
That is correct, sir.
And that's what the emphasis is here.
Yes, yes, because again, in order for us to offer certain courses, we have to have the staff in those classrooms with the certification. Again, if we waive the certification because they meet the criteria through other criteria that we set, then obviously it's going to have it's going to benefit our students, because then we can offer more licenses and certificates.
Thank you.
And Mr. President, if I may, and if we do go down that path, then we would have some internal metrics so that we could train these teachers in the area of pedagogy and classroom management and differentiated instruction and teaching best practices and things of that sort. So although somebody would come in with a welding certification and not have any experience in the art of teaching, we would have internal opportunities for these individuals to learn. Very good.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, there was a motion now to establish a committee that will then proceed to work with the administration, the school administration, to develop some recommendation towards applying for the District of Innovation. Is that the correct motion?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 5-0. The second half is, will the board establish it, and if so, by how many individuals does the board wish? Or do you want to, give other instructions as to how you want to proceed with establishing the committee? Trustee Suarez.
Before doing that, Dr. But I know you haven't been alone in this decision. So when you've been talking about it, what has been the recommendation from the people you've spoken to? Has it been to have board recommendation and staff, or all board or all staff?
No, actually, we want a representation from all levels, campus level, teachers from the elementary, middle school, and high school, as well as administrators from elementary, middle, and high school, as well as community members, business partners, and even board members.
Okay, so hypothetically, if we go with the board's recommendation, and Mr. Vela, Mr. Esparza, myself, 5 out of the 6 put teachers on there, are you going to be in charge of the community members and other administration? How does that work? Do you wait to see what recommendations are given by the board first, and then you fill in the gaps?
That's what I would do, yes. Like I said, I'll follow whatever direction you give me. If we do invite parents, for instance, we were considering members of the Superintendent's Advisory Board, and we have representation from every campus, 1 or 2 parents from every campus, so that's a good pool of applicants, and I would work very closely with Ms. Anjanette Gonzalez, our Director of State and Federal Programs, to possibly recommend. That would be one option for parents.
But again, so how are we going to know when the committee gets too big? And again, if I recommend a community member, but so does 4 other people, now we have 4 community members on there. So far, we haven't recommended an administrator, a teacher, or anybody on an advisory board. So what happens then?
Well, I think that we want representation from all levels, because we want to hear all concerns, if there are any concerns. We don't want to, ignore any concerns, and then later on, that like you're saying, perhaps it's going to have a hindering effect on our teachers, on our students. So we want to make sure that we allow everybody to voice any concerns before we proceed putting the plan together. And so the only way we can do that is to bring representation from all levels, both teachers, parents, administrators, and community members. So, we're hoping that the committee is comprised maybe of 20 individuals. That would be based on what I've seen from other districts, that's a good size, an average size for a committee, including the
Mr.
superintendent.
President, if I may, one of the things, if we choose to go with board members picking 1 to 2 individuals, then we would wait for you all to give us your picks, and then based on what you're picking, we would balance it out. So if it's community heavy or business representation heavy, then we would go with staff. If it's the other way, so we would first see what you all bring to the table, and then we would serve as a balancing mechanism to make sure that we have equal representation in the committee.
Are we thinking about maybe two members being recommended by each board member? That would be 14, 2 from each one. Is that something that we're thinking about, trustees, just to get our conversation going?
I think that,
It leaves you to pick 6. Is that enough to get equal? I guess it just depends who you pick, yeah.
Yes.
I think we should
depends on
submit
who you
one
pick.
name and a backup. Because if we submit 7, that leaves, another even number of 7, and if we need somebody to be the tiebreaker, then we can submit it that way.
If I may,
Yes, sir, trustee Vela.
you want to move with lightning speed. There's no way a committee that large is going to be able to move that quickly. Either to consume the information that you're going to give them, analyze it, and then come back with a response. You may have to do a subcommittee of your larger committee to move quicker and to bring forth some of that recommendation after they've deciphered it. And some questions are, who's driving it? Is it TEA, the governing body that we have to apply to? Then they would be your primary source of research. How many districts have applied? How long when did they apply? How many have dropped out? How many are applying? Is it an increase? There's a whole lot of things, but TEA is going to be a source of information. Just a thought. You may have to put together a committee and then put together a subcommittee to move with the lightning speed that you want to get in. If you want to do that in 2 months, 20 people ain't going to happen.
A point well taken, and if I may, Mr. President.
Yes.
That's what we did when we did our strategic design, our strategic plan. We broke up a larger committee into smaller groups so that we can move faster, and that's the same idea that we had, is if we have a group of 20, breaking it up into 4 groups of 5 or something of that nature so that we can move more efficiently.
So is the board thinking about, as trustee Farina has indicated without a motion yet, is that there'd be 7 members and 7 alternates from the board? That would give you 7 members from the board out of the 20 and 7 alternates. And if a primary can't, then you go down the list of the alternates, and that should fill in, and that's it. And if only 6, then it's 6 in the end. Is that what the board is thinking about? And if so, I need a motion to that effect so we can.
Sir, I make the motion that each board member appoint 1 selected representative and a backup alternate representative to the committee that will help us decide the District of Innovation.
All right, we have a motion that we appoint, and we have a second. Trustee Farina, trustee Suarez is second. Any discussion?
Please.
Trustee Vela.
Dr. Ibarra, I know you've contacted the neighboring school districts. Do they have a plan of action that they followed, and maybe what their committee makeup was, what their structure was? Why
Yes.
reinvent the wheel if someone used it? And maybe if you can get all 3 to give you their framework, maybe we can just blend them 3 together and get an idea from them.
If I may, actually, on the TA website, all the District of Innovation plans are posted.
Okay.
Actually, it's public information, and you'll find the districts of innovation from throughout the state. And they're, like I said, they're very similar. They pretty much all follow a template, and the language is very similar because basically everybody has very similar needs. And those are the more common ones, the ones that I discussed today, although some of them do more and some of them only do 1. But yes, absolutely, you'll find Harlingen, CISD there, Los Fresnos, Valley View, all of them. So, it's the task, I know it seems daunting, but because there's already a template and because the process is fairly easy to follow, we are very confident that we can do it within the 2-month frame. Although if we need more time, then we can definitely take more time.
But we're going to have to consume an enormous amount of research. And I'd really like for the board, whether we're on the committee or not, to follow that research at the same time or parallel to the committee, if you would, please.
Yes, yes, and I will research further, and I will definitely send it out to all of you.
Thank you.
Along those lines, it may be good to set up within SharePoint, a folder, so that information that you're working on, that you're sharing with the committee, when we get to that point, if we get there, is put in that box, including the research, and including the hyperlink to the state site when it talks about districts, so we can look at all districts if we wanted to on our own volition and accord.
Yes, I will do that.
Again, the actionable item now, and there's a motion and a second, which is to establish membership on the committee represented by the board with 7 members. Each board member would come back in 2 weeks at the next board meeting with a name for the first person to serve and a second name for the alternate. The administration would then start with the 7 that were selected by the board, and if one of them cannot, for whatever reason, they would begin going down the alternate. And only the 14 names would be used for making up the membership on the district committee, just to bring clarity.
Yes.
I mean, if we have the names sooner, we can provide them too, right?
Yes.
We don't have to wait till the next meeting, Dave, because this way.
Well, what's going to happen is we're going to bring the names, and then there'll be a motion to accept the names, and the board will have to vote on the names so that the board establishes the committee that we want represented.
So give her the names beforehand, this way, I guess.
Well, you could, but it's still going to have to be at the next board meeting, an actionable, where we
No, I
call the
understand
names in open session, put it as a motion as to the 7 and the 7 alternates, and it becomes an actionable item. Okay. Any further discussion? Ready to vote? We'll proceed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now proceed to item 10A2, approval of House Bill 1, House School Reform Goals for 2016-2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The high school reform funds require that districts set goals in improving college readiness, and I did want to emphasize that the high school reform requires that we set these goals and that we set these goals for ourselves, and then we're looking at it from one year to the next with regard to whether we hit the mark or not, and there's 5 goals, and Ms. V will talk about whether we hit the mark, and if we did, why, and how we plan to enhance as we move forward. Ms. V?
Yes. So the high school reform goals, just some background to it. The purpose of high school allotment was created by Texas legislature in 2006, and it was to prepare underachieving students to enter institutions of higher education, encourage students to pursue advanced academic opportunities, provide opportunities for students to take academically rigorous courses, align secondary and post-secondary curriculum and expectations, and support other promising high school completion success initiatives in grades 6 through 12 as approved by our Commissioner of Education. And so in keeping with the requirements under the state statute 19, Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 61, the following goals, as Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, are related to the high school allotment performance and have been established. And again, these are based on the Commissioner's rules concerning high school allotment fund. So goal number 1 is the percentage of students graduating from high school for class of 2017, and we have that set at 91%. And as I presented at the last board meeting, the TAPER 2015-16 reported that our 14-15 graduating class was 88.2%. So we're going to set this goal a tad higher at 91%. And the plans to enhance this, it's tied into the evaluation where we have the central and campus practitioners working together, the directors together with the campus college career specialist, and we've got our targeted, we're watching to get each of these requirements necessary for the kids to make their graduation goal this May. Goal number 2 is the percentage of students enrolled in advanced courses in any subject, including our advanced placement courses, our IB courses, and our dual credit. And I upped this percentage. What was submitted to you in your PowerPoint Friday was 50%, but I corrected that and took it up to 60%, and that's in your SharePoint. and what's shown there. And the reason I changed that and based that is in reviewing taper 15-16, the 14-15 graduating class that we have officially, 11th and 12th graders, we were already at 56.7%. And that's on the 14-15. It's only gone higher for the 15-16. I just don't have an official source to give that. So I feel comfortable that we can reach that goal. And our goal 3 is, and this is one that Mrs. Alcalde added to. It wasn't actually one of the mandatory ones, but this was added, and this will be the last year, the class of 2016-17, the percentage of students successfully graduating on the recommended high school program and distinguished achievement plan for 96%. This will be the last year of that, obviously, because our juniors and younger are falling under the House Bill 5, so that'll be a different degree plan. And this was always something that Ms. Alcalde chose to do in addition to, which was rigorous, DAP and recommended high school plan. So in the taper 15-16 of the 14-15 graduates, we were at 95.5. So I upped this to 96%. I feel confident we can meet this goal this year. And our last 2 goals is the percentage of students who are college and career ready graduates to be at 90%, and our college ready graduates. And this is another one where the prior administration chose to add a goal. So the college and career-ready graduates is something that's been added, and that's at 90%. And again, the college career-ready definition is, and that's something that we did in addition, is the annual graduates who demonstrate preparation of post-secondary success in one of 3 ways: meeting the TSI criteria in both ELA reading and mathematics, completing and earning credit for at least 2 advanced dual credit courses in 13-14 or 14-15, or enrolling in coherent sequence of career technology education courses as part of a 4-year plan of study to take 2 or more CTE courses. So that's the college and career graduates, and we were at 88.3, which I reported to you at the taper last meeting. And so we're setting our goal this time for 90%. And college-ready graduates, the definition of college-ready graduates is, and it's a rigorous one, and this is the one required in high school allotment, is the accomplishment of the SAT and SAT or SAT at that set goal that they want. Very rigorous. And in 14-15, our ELA percent was 29%. And this time, we're going to move it up to 35%. In 14-15, taper reported our math being at 28%. We're going to move that up to 35%. And both subjects was 26%, and we're going to move that to 35%. And that concludes the presentation of our 5 goals.
Thank you, Mrs. V. Any questions from the board? Trustee Esparza.
Can we just get a copy, because that wasn't put in the packet, right, that slide presentation?
Not the updated one.
It's in your SharePoint.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's in the SharePoint. Natalie added it, correct?
Yeah.
My updated PowerPoint is in your SharePoint.
Okay.
But the original one is in our packet, but it's now not the current one that you presented tonight. It's in the SharePoint.
It's in the SharePoint, yes, sir.
Okay.
With just the addition of 2 slides on the increase of the goal.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just a
Trustee
quick
Vela.
question, if I may. Ms. V, thank you for the information provided in your report.
Yes, sir.
This is a dynamic document. How often will you be addressing the goals, either adjustments up or down on these goals? Do you know?
We could give, well, we wouldn't know official results until we get our taper each year. So definitely at that time. But what we're doing at the campus level is, one, just to be able to have the SAT and ACT scores, we want to ensure that they're taking it. And so that is the march at the campus as we speak. You know, that Excel that's running with every student enrolled in their 3rd and 4th year of high school, and have they taken it and how many times, and it's that monitoring, and that's that combined effort that I feel optimistic with the director, Dr. De Hoyos, and Karen Nitsch, Advanced Academics, and Lily Sandoval Silva.
Okay.
Those 3 directors, when we come together as a curriculum instruction strategic design team, that now, I guess it always has been, but it's just that verbalized target, that it's our target. It's the campus's target, and it's our district's target. So we are a curriculum instruction strategic design team, and that monitoring is not alone with the principal and the college career. We're sharing that. We're checking on it. How many more? Is there 20 more? Is there 30 more? So that would be that goal. TSI, the same thing. How many have taken it? You know, can we get them on a Saturday? It's a continuous exhortation of the students to get them in to even make the attempt to take the test.
And if I may, that we are going to be presenting on our current totals as far as the number of students that are TSI complete, that are taking the SAT and ACT as part of our counseling, college and career counseling presentation that we do every other month. So that will be coming up, and that information will also be included in that presentation.
Because the goals, you adjusted them up, because we were already bumping up against the goals you initially set. There's already a plan that's in place to get to this point, but verbalizing and enhancing that plan will get you these goals as you move them higher. That's a good point. But the verbalization is the important part, and you mentioned that. Thank you.
I think if we all just talk the same message, there gets to be a momentum and a hope and a rally, if you will, that the counselors and the principals and the APs are not by themselves.
Sure.
And that it's our responsibility, not their responsibility at the campus, that we're a team.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments? Very good. Thank you very much for your report. And I'll proceed to item 10C.
Don't we have an action item?
Yeah, this is next
Oh,
So I'll move that
yes,
the Board of
yes.
Trustees approve the high school reform goals for 2016-2017.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by trustee Alvarado and seconded by trustee Suarez. Any further discussion or comment? Thank you, trustee Alvarado. Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries. 6-0. Real quick, just one question. This would line up with the superintendent's evaluation now, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
It's a modification to your evaluation.
Yes, sir. It would line up with that and also our strategic plan as we move forward with the 7 strategies.
Very good. Thank you. So it's all still in sync. Good. 10B1, approval of repurposed job description for a marketing specialist. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Administration continues to carefully review all positions to maximize operational efficiencies, and we've identified an operational realignment opportunity, and we're repurposing the receptionist job description to the marketing specialist job description, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
So moved by trustee
I'll
Alvarado.
move that the Board of Trustees approve the repurposed job description for marketing specialist.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a
Second.
second? By trustee Farina. Any discussion? I do have a question. I don't know the board member does. And you and I discussed it at another time when we were talking about the strategic plan and this job description. It'd be probably helpful to have the word branding in there to continue our efforts to build a brand for McAllen ISD and what that might look like once we have this individual help us starting to look at who we are going forward.
Yes, sir. It is included in item 9 and also item 20, but I think we need to still review the...
I'm sorry, I didn't see the word, drive branding loyalty. Never mind.
Well, but we still need to take a second look at it. It's been a while since we've looked at this job description.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Trustee Alvarado.
One, the repurposing is supporting student recruitment efforts, and when we had the kids marathon, the student services went out there. Mr. Wilde's department, which we kind of gave to him, added to his already tons of things that he had to do. And we got, I understand, 4 students. I saw the Twitter on that, right, that we recruited to. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, if I may, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it has grown to 7 since that.
Oh, 7.
It's grown
Wow.
from 3 to 4 to 7.
How many students in a ballpark and kind of will it take for this person to recruit for this position to pay for itself?
I don't know, off the top of my head, no. that-
It's approximately $57.60 per student annually that we receive in funding.
So
funding.
at times, we get leads, and sometimes it falls through the cracks. This person, the way I read it, supporting student recruitment, they'll be helping with stuff like that. They'll be helping when we have different events, running the table or doing stuff like that. Wow. So it'll be interesting to track to see how many students we're able to recruit. That'll be good. Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Very good. There was a motion and a second. We'll now proceed to a vote. All in favor,
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir, trustee Esparza.
I'm not sure exactly what this is. It says repurposing the receptionist job description, is that what? So you're taking a receptionist position and having them be, you're doing away with that position? Is that what you're doing, or what is it? I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. We was able to absorb those receptionist duties in the curriculum and instruction area through efficiencies, freeing up the community information department, that position not needed in that department, so we can take that and repurpose it into a marketing specialist.
Taking the funds, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just through efficiencies, we're able to absorb that into the curriculum and instruction area.
Nobody's losing their job?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, okay.
We're good, trustee Esparza?
Yep.
All right, sir. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, we now proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries. Thank you. We'll now proceed to item 10C, District Operations. Approval of final payment to American Contracting USA Incorporated for the competitive seal bid number 2015-0104 roof replacement at Alonso de Leon Middle School. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, we are requesting approval of final payment for the roof replacement at Alonso de Leon Middle School. A walkthrough with the contractor and facilities maintenance and operations staff has certified the request for final payment since all items have been completed. We are requesting action on this item.
Thank you. What say the board?
So moved.
Been moved by trustee Farina. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Alvarado. Any discussion?
Just quick question for Dr.
Yes, sir.
Barrera. Dr. Barrera, we had contingency about 100,000.
That's right.
We didn't use all of it, right?
Actually, we used a little bit of it. We used about 24,000 to repair replace some fascia up on the rooftops here. And we will be receiving a credit of $76,984.
Awesome. And that money goes back to your...
Yes, sir.
That's all I have, sir.
It goes back to FMNO, right?
Yes.
For other
FMO,
possible.
yes.
Very good.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir, trustee Esparza.
Ruben did the walkthrough, everything, it's all good to go?
Ruben and Anthony Pettis is assistant, and then along with the contractor.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0. Motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you. We'll now go to item 10D. This is now business operation. There are actually no items listed. This would have been under business operation. No actions tonight.
Because they're leaving Austin.
Very good. We now proceed to 10E, Superintendent's updates on activities. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. For the past 2 Saturdays, students have engaged in robotics, engineering, and rocketry, and it's part of a unique effort called our Mission to Mars. High school students are constructing robotic arms for rovers, and they're also constructing rockets and their launchers. And what makes this so unique is that high school students are assembling these advanced technological materials for use by our younger elementary and middle school students later this semester. So we're very, very proud of the efforts of all of our students, and we're very, very proud of all the teachers that volunteered their time. And we did want to show a short video that highlights our last 2 Saturdays.
So that's the idea of the Mars rover, which is the payload, is the one that reaches Mars. So let's start pumping until about 100 psi. Let us know when you reach 60 psi.
together is one of the most important things to do.
This is like amazing opportunity.
I think it's a great experience. You know, it's very inspirational where we get to build stuff, and it's very exciting. If this inspires me, then I'm pretty sure that this is going to inspire the little kids of McAllen.
When I grow up, I want to be an astronaut because I want to get in outer space in a rocket ship.
So once again, thank you to all the students that took part in the last 2 Saturdays, and to all the teachers that volunteered their time, and to everyone else that made it possible, because it was a very, very special event. We look forward to continuing on our mission to Mars in McAllen ISD. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. We'll now proceed to item 10F. This is a Board of Trustees approval of Board Education minutes. The minutes for each meeting of the Board of Education are traditionally brought to the board for approval. After approval, the minutes become the official record of the board action. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Forina. Do I have a second? Second by Trustee Alvarado. I do have a correction on the meeting of the January the 16th. Under item 10, after 10, there was a recess, and the language said that the board president made a motion to recess, and there was actually, the action was that unless there was an objection, we would go into recess, and there was no objection, so the board went into recess. So if we could make that correction. Thank you. Any other edits or corrections in the minutes? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 6-0, motion carries. We now proceed to item 11, schedule of future meetings. The Board of Trustees will meet on item 10A, February the 3rd, 2017. This is a special board meeting at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom in the Administration Building at 2000 North 23rd Street. 11B, February 13th, 2017, special board meeting at 4 p.m., boardroom, Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 11C, February the 13th of 2017, regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom, Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 11D, February 27th, 2017, special board meeting at 4 p.m., boardroom, Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 11E, February 27th, 2017, regular board meeting, 5 p.m., boardroom, Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. 11F, February 27th, 2017, special board meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6:15 p.m. in the boardroom, Administration Building, 2000 North 23rd Street. There's no need to go into item 12 into closed session. There's therefore no need, item 13, to go back in open, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir, Trustee Suarez.
I know that some of our executive team's on their way traveling tonight. Just want to wish them a good trip and a safe trip, and drive safely. I know they're leaving right after this meeting, so.
Thank you for representing us at the winter conference. Thank you, Trustee Suarez. Any other comments?
To our one guy from Leadership McAllen that stuck around.
Yeah,
And
he stayed.
There was
He
2
said, "I'm gonna
rows
stick it out
full.
to 11."
And he's the one guy that stuck around.
You're the man, you're the man.
Sir, don't share your notes with anybody. You just,
Do I have a motion?
so moved.
So moved by Trustee Alvarado, second by Trustee Forino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have,
We can't go home this early.
all right. The
I'm gonna wonder if something's wrong.
motion carries 5-1. Thank you.
Where you been the other weeks, right?